I should now first move on to the briefing, which was the next stage. And we'd seen Barnes-Ross's film on the Saturday evening. Sunday at 3 o'clock, townwide message, all 617 Squadron into the operations room. So off we went into the operations room, and then, for the first time, we saw what the targets were. Of course, there were models of the Mohn and the Zorpa. The model for the Ada hadn't been completed, so it couldn't be there, but the other two were there. And it was big marks up on the walls which show exactly what was going to happen. And what a briefing that was. The AOC was there. Air Commodores, I think they were in there, or Air Vice Marshal, I'm not sure. But Sir Rafe Cochrane, who was another great man. Station Commander was there, Group Captain Whitworth. And Gibson was there, of course. He was conducting the briefing. Barnes Wallis was there. Senior engineer, engineering officer, armament officer. And, of course, the dear old Met officer was there, hoping that he was going to give us a reasonable forecast. But that was the General Assembly. And Gibson then explained what was going to happen. He would take off with 2 other aircraft, and they would head for the Mohn. 6 aircraft would follow him, also heading for the Mohn, and then if the Mohn hadn't been breached by the time they got there, they would be involved in the Mohn attack as well. And when the Mohn was breached, they would move over to the Ada and attack that. And 5 crews were briefed for the Zorpa. We were one of those crews, and we didn't like that too much at all. The Zorpa didn't have any towers, and it was so placed in the hills on either side and on the approach that it couldn't make a successful head-on attack. So to attack it, you had to fly down the hills on one side, along the dam itself, with the port outer engine along the dam, which left the bomb on the water side, and estimate to drop the bomb as near as possible to the centre of the dam. In other words, we weren't going to use any of the training that we'd had for the previous 6 weeks. The only thing we were going to use was the low flying, of course. And we weren't spinning the bomb anyway. It was going to be an inert drop. So that was that. So after the briefing, we were the other briefing, we were shown that there were 2 routes out. The idea that the first lot would go through on the southern route, and the second lot would go on the northern route, trying to convince the Germans that it was a much larger raid that was going to take place. And that was another aspect of the briefing. The last thing we were told, of course, was to repeat the security business, on no account to speak to anybody about what you are going to do, nor to discuss it between yourselves. So that was that. So we went off for our operational meal, the good old eggs and bacon, which is a regular thing for before an operation. And ultimately, we went out to our aircraft.